Welcome to another video of Zooming In, where I start sharing all of my wonderful charger tips and know-how with all of you lovely viewers. Today, I decided to share some things on gear, which will be our focus. Builds do vary from person to person, but I have been told my builds can seem pretty far out there for e-leaders, so please experiment with your own gear. Going in, I will admit that a good chunk of my gear is hacked, so don't feel bad if you're not a dirty gear hacker like me and have a ton of perfect gear. Roll what you can. Before we dive in, I figure we have to explain some terminology first. First, I'll start off with the basics. Each piece of gear comes with a main and subs. The big one on top, like you see here, a main or one main. These are the slots on the gears you cannot change by having Spike re-roll them. The bottom here, as you see, are subs, and there are 3 of them. Most refer to them as all 3 subs. These 3 here can be shuffled by Spike to give you different kinds of abilities on your gear. When you have 4 of the same ability on one piece of gear, they are most often referred to as a quad or a pure. If they are different abilities, they aren't a quad. Going back, let's throw some math in the mix. Did you know the mains and subs have point values to them? One main is equal to 10 points, for instance 10 points of damage. One sub on its own equals 3 points. When you add all 3 together, you get 9 points. This makes it so that mains are just a teensy bit more powerful than subs. Taking what we know now, let's do some quick math. 1 main plus 2 subs of damage on one piece of gear is 10 plus 6 points, equaling 16 points of damage. Now that we have that understood, we can move on to the actual gear part. For me, I find myself to be a really objective-based sniper. I always center my gear around the mode and what I like over the weapon itself and efficiency with it. We'll start off with the Echo Leader or the Vanilla E-Leader, however you want to call it. Personally, I like to make sure I have plenty of ink recovery when I do use this particular E-Leader, as I tend to be really burst bomb happy and run out of ink really quickly. I do try to throw in some sub saver in where I can. Usually, I play this E-Leader for splat zones or when there are too many invincibility specials on the team. For zones, especially, I like to wear cold-blooded to give me a slight edge that I won't be echoed as long as the other E-Leader when we're trying to duke it out. For that purpose, I usually have 3 cold-blooded shirts I swap between for this purpose. The first is the Koro Koro hoodie, which I have rolled for the Ink Saver sub. Next is the Anchor Sweat, which you can naturally roll for damage since the brand is Squid Force. I sometimes, but lately, rarely use the Sky Blue Squid Eye, which you can roll for ink recovery naturally since the brand is Tinatech. I also have another build where I wear a quad of Ink Saver sub. 1 quad or 2 mains of Ink Saver sub will let you throw 3 burst bombs instead of just 2. As you can see, all of these builds are really heavy in ink recovery to help me keep up pressure in a zones match. The faster you recover ink, the more you can keep shooting, whether it be at the zone or at the enemy trying to take it from you. Moving away from the Echo Leader, let's focus more on my builds for the custom E-Leader. I will note that some of my builds are fairly interchangeable regarding going between Kraken and Echo. I don't really wear swim speed for my Krakens as I'm trying to focus on landing the shots instead. We'll start off with one of my primary builds for tower control, my iconic build, if you will, that's drawn in fan art of me and such. For tower control, I almost always try to wear tenacity since as the E-Leader, I'm focusing on staying up and being a living beacon to my teammates and not dying. Ink recovery is also a huge part of this build, so that even when I do miss the tower, I can keep refueling and shooting at it again. For tower control especially, I always try to wear 28 points of damage, since stopping a tower push is going to be my main job. This just accounts for any extra defense anyone might rear. This particular build is my favorite because the tenacity does the special charge for me, so I don't have to waste extra mains and subs on the special charge up ability itself, and just have it bundled into tenacity. If you don't feel like you're seeing the benefits of tenacity, I'm gonna have to keep it real and say you have to make sure you don't die so you can reap the benefits. Don't put yourself in unnecessary danger and make sure you land those shots. If you still want the effects of your special coming faster, maybe trade the tenacity for a main of special charge. After all, tenacity only works when your teammates are dead. One variant I have for this build is wearing ink-resistant shoes rolled with damage to keep the same amount of points. One difference between the custom E-Leader and the Echo Leader is without burst bombs, it can be hard to get yourself unstuck from enemy ink. A bit of ink resistance also helps for when you're battling with other chargers and ink keeps getting under your feet. It takes extra time to get enemy ink off the tower when you're being shot at, and in that moment a defending charger could already have a shot ready to fire while you're trying to clear out ink. A bit of ink resistance helps steady things out so that you're not at risk for as long. One other build I like to have involves wearing Haunt. As the charger, I'm a big target for either the other E-leader or to be flanked a ton the entire match. When I go against teams who I know have people who like to be the flanker for that team and get behind me, I like to wear haunts so if I get flanked, that flanker isn't getting away without everyone knowing where they are. I feel it's also good for if the other E-leader gets a shot on me when I didn't know where they were, they're instantly marked so that my teammates know where to flank them and can also stay out of their sight so that they don't get sniped as well. The element of surprise is one of the charger's greatest weapons, and taking that from them can put them in a tight spot. Another build I like to wear involves wearing just a little bit of run speed. Run speed expects your strafing speed, your movement when you move left to right. With that in mind, it helps make peeking just a little bit quicker. If you fought a decent amount of good squiffers, you'll notice they move and peek really quickly. Usually I use this build mainly on port mackerel, a really peek heavy map. This can also come with ink resistance as well, so that when me and the other E-leader are shooting at each other, I don't get instantly stuck trying to make my shot. We'll now move on to Rainmaker territory where my builds reflect objective play very strongly. These builds are all about swim speed, so prepare to see a lot of it. With the most recent patch done to the E-leader with its swim speed nerf, it takes 5 subs of swim speed to undo the nerf. So before the patch, I didn't used to wear nearly as much as I do now. I have no problems jumping in and grabbing the Rainmaker instead of sitting back and being a beacon for my teammates. This build you see here comes with Haunt because while going in for the objective can be nice, it can also get me in a lot of stupid situations, so I might as well mark the people who caught me. In Rainmaker, the map will decide just how much run speed or swim speed I'll be wearing. For that purpose, I usually wear a quad of swim speed shoes. Maps like Moray, Port Mackerel, Walleye Warehouse, where there isn't a lot of running and is mostly swimming, is where these shoes come out. In these situations, I'm not trying to be the only one grabbing it every time, especially if there's still a charger up, but if there's no one around and someone needs to grab it, I might as well go as fast as I can. This here is an older build that I don't wear too much due to the lack of swim speed. I said before I do love my ink recovery, and in Rainmaker, I either need to stop a push or help my teammates pop it or snipe the other E-leader, and that takes up a lot of ink. I've been trying to reincorporate ink recovery back into my build slowly though, because I can certainly notice a difference. Remember, it's up to you what feels good. Moving on, we'll move on to what we can call the hybrids, where it's somewhat equal parts run speed and equal parts swim speed. These builds are for maps where running across grates is involved, but it isn't a huge part of the map. For example, maps like Camp Triggerfish, Mahi Mahi Resort, Bluefin Depot, or Kelpdone are maps where I'd run these particular sets. These are also where my imperfect gear comes into play. I like to experiment with different degrees of run speed and swim speed to see just how much I feel I need. All of your gear doesn't have to be perfect to get the job done. For builds like these, as long as I have a quad of damage as the minimum, I'm fine. I've never been a charger who's felt they really need a lot of damage, and with the last nerf, it felt more like a buff for me because now I get to wear all kinds of abilities instead of just ink recovery and damage. I'm also pretty simple in my builds for these too. I just wear what feels good. There's no master planning or calculations to having 2 subs of run speed on my squid hair clip. I just like it that way. It's okay to look for others and advice when you do ask for help in builds, but remember, only you know what you like. These next few sets I'm showing you are more just specialized sets, as in they're for a particular map mode combination, which I've listed here on the screen for you. I guess you could call them more tournament sets, as they're usually brought out for map mode combinations that no longer show up in rotation, and can only be played in private battles and tournaments. Some others might disagree with my builds, but I'm all about having fun and doing my own thing when it comes to sniping. Sure, I'll listen to important information like how much Inksaver sub I need to throw 3 burst bombs, but anything more complex just starts getting too complicated and unfun for me. I'm still waiting to bring silly things like Ninja Squid and Comeback Earlier into the future to see what I can do. That'll be all for this video today, and I hope that I helped guide you in some kind of direction for any future builds you might have. Feel free to ask any other questions in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and remember to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a future video.